Chosen one, God watched you today, not from a distance and not as a judge reviewing evidence. He watched you the way a father watches from the doorway when he thinks his child cannot see him, leaning against the frame, arms crossed, heart full, completely still. And what he saw today did something to him that I do not have the vocabulary to describe gently, so I will say it plainly. You made God laugh today, not at you, because of you. Because you chose patience in a moment that deserved your rage. Because you kept a promise that nobody would have blamed you for breaking. Because you got back up this morning after a night that nearly swallowed you whole, and you did it without fanfare, without applause, without anyone in your life acknowledging that you are carrying a weight that would have crushed a lesser soul 3 seasons ago. And what makes this extraordinary is not that God noticed. He always notices. What makes this extraordinary is that you exceeded what he placed in front of you. The bar was here. You cleared it by a distance that made the architect of the universe stop and smile and then laugh with the deep, unrestrained joy of a father who just realized his child has become more than he designed them to be. Stay here. What I am about to reveal is the evidence. You are sitting somewhere right now at the end of a day that felt completely unremarkable, or in the middle of a night that refuses to let you rest. And there is something heavy pressing against your chest that you have not told a single person about. Not because you do not want to, because the words for it do not exist yet. The tiredness you are carrying is not the kind that sleep can fix. You have gone to bed exhausted and woken up the exact same way, and no amount of rest seems to reach the place where the weariness actually lives. It sits in your bones, not your muscles. It wraps itself around your spirit, not your body. And you have started to wonder quietly, almost secretly, if something is fundamentally wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. What you are feeling is the weight of someone who has been faithful in a season that gave absolutely nothing back. No applause, no confirmation, no burning bush, no open door, no sign in the sky that said, "Keep going, it is working." You just kept going anyway. And that kind of faithfulness does not appear on any scoreboard the world has ever built, but it appears on one that matters far more than all of them combined. And then there are the waves. Those moments when tears fill your eyes and you cannot explain why. You are not sad, exactly. You are not happy, either. Something is moving through you that does not have a name, and it arrives at the strangest times. In the car, standing in the kitchen, in the middle of a conversation that has nothing to do with anything deep, and you blink it away and pretend it did not happen because you do not know what to do with it. Those waves are not random. They are not weakness. They are the current of a shift that is already underway inside your life, a shift so large that your body feels it before your mind has the ability to understand it. God saw 7 specific things you did today. 7, not vague impressions, not general awareness, 7 precise recorded acts that you performed without any idea they were being watched. And by the time this message reaches its final word, you will know every single one. But I am not going to rush this, because each one carries a weight that deserves to be felt, not skimmed. What you planted today, you cannot see yet. A seed does not announce itself the moment it enters the ground. It does not send up a flag or ask to be noticed. It simply begins its quiet work in the dark, in silence, in a depth where no human eye can reach. And that is exactly what your actions did today. They entered the soil of heaven, and heaven already sees the tree. Let me show you the first 3. The first was a moment of patience. And I am not talking about the comfortable kind, the kind people admire from a safe distance. I am talking about the raw, teeth-clenched, burning kind of patience that nobody witnessed and nobody will thank you for. Someone pushed you today. Maybe it was a word delivered with just enough sharpness to cut. Maybe it was a tone you have heard 1,000 times before, the one your body recognized before your ears even finished processing it. And everything inside you wanted to respond. You had the words loaded, you had every right to fire them, but you swallowed them. You chose silence when noise would have been completely justified. And you walked away from that moment, wondering if your silence made you look weak. It did not make you weak, it made heaven pause. The second thing God recorded was a promise you kept. A commitment that has been costing you more than anyone around you will ever understand. Maybe it is a marriage you are holding together when walking away would be the easier road. Maybe it is a job you show up to every single morning that drains you empty, but puts food on a table that feeds people who depend on you. Maybe it is a prayer you keep whispering for someone who has not changed one bit since the first time you brought their name before God. Whatever that promise is, you kept it again today. Not because it felt good, not because you could see the reward, because something deep inside you refuses to break a word you have given, even when the person you gave it to has already broken theirs. God saw that. He did not just acknowledge it. He celebrated it. And the third thing was the simplest of all, and somehow the most powerful. You got up, you opened your eyes this morning, and something in you whispered, "Not again." Another day of this. Another round of the same heaviness with no sign of it lifting. And still, you put your feet on the floor. You moved forward, not with confidence, not with fire, with something far more rare than either of those things. With plain, quiet, undecorated obedience. You showed up to a life that has not shown up for you in a long time, and you did it without asking for a receipt. If something just shifted in your chest, if you recognized yourself in any of those 3 moments, type the words, "I see it," in the comments. Not for me, for you, to mark the moment your spirit confirmed what heaven already recorded. And I want to be honest with you about what lies ahead. Before this message is over, I am going to share with you an ancient word from the original Hebrew language that describes exactly what God felt when He watched you today, a word that most people have never heard correctly translated. I am going to reveal the remaining 4 things He saw. And at the very end, I am going to speak a declaration over your life, an activation, a sacred closing ceremony that I believe will stay with you long after you leave this space. Every word from this point forward was placed here for you. Stay. But here is what I need you to understand right now. Those 3 actions I just described, they are only the surface. Beneath the patience, beneath the promise, beneath the quiet act of simply showing up, God saw something else, something deeper, something that moved Him from a smile to a full, unrestrained laugh. And to explain what that deeper something is, I need to take you to a word that does not exist in the English language. A word so precise in what it describes that when you hear it, you will finally understand why God's response to you today was not just approval, it was delight. I told you there was something underneath those 3 actions, something that made God move from a quiet smile to a full, joyful laugh. And I told you that to understand it, I need to take you somewhere most messages never go, into the original language. When Scripture describes the response of God toward a human being who truly pleases Him, there is a specific word that gets used. And most translations water it down, not intentionally, but enough that you miss the part that matters most. The English translations usually say, pleased, or accepted, as if God is a professor at the back of a lecture hall marking your paper and writing a polite satisfactory at the top, as if His response to your faithfulness today was a courteous nod from across the room. As if he reviewed your actions, the way a manager reviews an employee's quarterly report and checked the box that says, meets expectations. That is not what happened today. Not even close. The original word, the one written thousands of years ago in Hebrew, is ratzah. And ratzah does not mean satisfactory. It does not mean tolerable. It does not mean you passed the minimum threshold and God will allow you to continue. Ratzah means to take delight in, to run toward with pleasure, to find something so favorable, so unexpectedly beautiful, that you are drawn to it involuntarily, the way you lean into the aroma of something cooking that takes you back to the safest kitchen you have ever stood in, the way a parent's entire body softens when their child says something so wise, so mature, so beyond their years that it catches the heart completely off guard. That is what God did with your actions today. He did not file them. He did not log them. He ratzed them. He leaned into them with the full weight of his joy. He ran toward what you did the way a father runs toward a child who just took their first steps without knowing anyone was watching. Let me give you an image that will make this land even deeper. Imagine a parent cleaning their child's room and finding a small drawing tucked under the bed. It was never meant to be seen. The child made it quietly, alone, with no audience and no expectation of praise. The lines are not perfect. The colors go outside the borders. But the parent holds that piece of paper and something rises in their chest that they did not expect. Not because the drawing is remarkable by any artistic standard, because the child drew it anyway, because the love in it was never performed for anyone. It was simply, quietly, stubbornly real. That is how God held what you did today. But now, I need to show you exactly what he ratzed, because it was not just the patience. It was not just the promise. It was not just the showing up. It was what lived underneath all three. And this is the part where I need you to listen more carefully than you have ever listened to anything, because what I am about to speak are not my words. I hear the Spirit saying something very specific over your life right now. He saw when you chose silence over retaliation, when you had every weapon loaded, every justification lined up, every right to unleash what had been building inside you for longer than anyone knows, and you laid it all down. You walked away from a fight you would have won, and he did not count that as weakness. He counted it as warfare. The most sophisticated kind of warfare in existence, the kind that wins without a single casualty, the kind that only someone operating from a frequency deeper than anger could ever execute. He saw when you forgave someone before the apology arrived, when you released a debt that was still owed to you, when you opened hands that had every reason to stay clenched, and you let go of something your flesh had been gripping for months. He did not count that as naivety. He counted it as authority, the authority of someone who has decided they answer to a court far higher than the one this world recognizes. He saw when you stayed in the room, when your pride was on fire and the door was right there, and walking through it would have felt like the sweetest kind of freedom. You stayed. You sat with the discomfort. You absorbed the tension without throwing it back. And he did not count that as passivity. He counted it as maturity, the kind that cannot be downloaded or memorized or borrowed from someone else, the kind that can only be forged in the exact furnace you have been sitting in. He saw when you prayed for someone who wounded you, not a polished prayer, not a public, look at my grace prayer, a raw, broken, through gritted teeth prayer that cost you more than the person you prayed for will ever comprehend. And he counted it as the rarest form of strength he has witnessed in this entire generation, and that moved the heart of your Father. He saw when you woke up after a night of doubt so thick, it felt like a wall had been built around your bed while you slept, and you chose to try again. You did not feel resurrection, You did not see light at any end of any tunnel, but you moved toward it anyway, with nothing in your hands except the memory of a promise you once believed was real. And he counted that single act of rising as the purest definition of faith, and that moved the heart of your Father. He saw when you served without recognition, when you loved without return, when you gave from a well that has been running dangerously low for months, and you did it without bitterness, without scorekeeping, without announcing the sacrifice to a single living soul. And he counted that as the most authentic worship he has received, the kind that comes not from a stage but from a kitchen, not from a microphone but from a quiet room where nobody will ever know what you gave. And that moved the heart of your Father. And then I heard him say this one did not perform for an audience. This one chose me when nobody was watching, and that is what moved my heart. The seed does not applaud itself for growing. It does not even know it is growing, but the one who planted it sees exactly what it is becoming. And what you are becoming, chosen one, is visible to the only eyes that have ever truly mattered. If your spirit just witnessed its own reflection in those words, type "He sees M.E." in the comments. Not as a ritual, as a recognition, because he does see you, he always has. And what he sees is not the version of yourself you are afraid of being. It is the version he designed before you ever had a reason to doubt it. Now, there is a third truth I need to share with you. And this one will change the way you understand everything that came before it. The reason your small actions exceeded God's expectations, the reason a single moment of patience made the architect of the universe laugh with a joy that shook the foundations of your destiny, is connected to something that happened to you a very long time ago. Before you had the language to understand it, before you had the awareness to protect it, something was taken from you before you were 7 years old. Quietly, systematically, without your permission and without your knowledge. And what you did today, every act of silence, every swallowed word, every moment of choosing faith when your body was begging you to choose surrender, those actions proved something that the world was never supposed to find out. Whatever was taken from you was never fully gone. Whatever was taken from you was never fully gone, and the proof has been hiding in plain sight your entire life. You just did not know where to look. Let me take you back. Not to a memory you chose to keep, but to one that was so natural, so effortless, that you forgot it was ever remarkable. When you were a child, something operated inside you that you never had to try to turn on. You did not study how to be creative. You simply were. You did not practice intuition. It arrived on its own, like breathing. You could walk into a room and feel the temperature of a conversation before a single word was spoken. You could sense when someone was lying to you before your vocabulary was large enough to explain why. You learned things at a speed that surprised the adults around you. Ideas would appear in your mind fully formed, as if someone had placed them there while you slept. Colors were brighter, music reached deeper. The world spoke a language to you that other children did not seem to hear. And then, slowly, something changed. It did not happen overnight. It happened over years, layer by layer. The education system told you to sit still. The social environment told you to be normal. The voices around you, sometimes with love, sometimes with frustration, taught you to shrink what was different about you until it fit inside a box that everyone else could understand. And by the time you were 7, maybe 8, maybe 9, the thing that once ran freely inside you had been turned down so low that you forgot it was ever there. Scientists who study the human brain have a name for this. They call it the decline effect. It is the measurable, documented, observable reduction of a specific frequency in the human brain that begins in childhood and continues into adulthood. This is not spiritual theory. This is not metaphor. This is data recorded by EEG machines in research laboratories at institutions like MIT and Princeton and Harvard. The frequency that made you extraordinary as a child, the one connected to genius-level cognition, deep intuition, rapid learning, creative fire, and what some researchers describe as the flow state, that frequency was systematically turned down by the conditions of modern life. And here is what breaks my heart and heals it at the same time. You felt it leave. You could not name it. You could not explain it. But you knew something was different. You knew that somewhere between childhood and now, a door closed that you never asked to be closed. And the distance between who you were then and who you feel like today, that distance has lived inside you like a wound you could never quite locate. But, chosen one, here is the revelation that God is pressing into your spirit at this very moment. What you did today proved that the frequency never fully shut down. Think about it. A normal human being operating only on survival instinct does not choose patience under the kind of pressure you were under today. A normal response to the weight you have been carrying would be to explode, to quit, to walk away, to numb yourself with whatever is closest. But you did not do any of those things. You chose silence. You chose faithfulness. You chose to keep going. And those choices did not come from willpower. Willpower runs out. You know this because you have watched it run out 100 times before. What kept you standing today came from somewhere deeper than discipline. It came from a frequency that was supposed to be dead but refused to die. Your patience today was not passive. It was evidence. Evidence that what was planted in you before the world tried to silence it is still alive, still running, still sending signals through the noise. And that is the proof it never died. Your silence today was not weakness. It was precision. The kind of precision that only comes from someone whose internal operating system is still connected to something higher than the situation in front of them. And that is the proof it never died. Your endurance today was not just survival. It was a signal sent directly from the deepest part of your design to the highest throne in the universe that said, I am still here, and I am still operating from the blueprint you placed inside me before I had a name. And that is the proof it never died. Your love today, the kind you gave without asking for anything back, the kind that cost you something real and tangible and painful, that love was not ordinary human behavior. That was the frequency, still transmitting, still alive, still louder than everything the world did to turn it down. And that is the proof it never died. Before I continue, I need you to do something for me. Gently press the like button right now, not for me, not for this message, but so that this truth can reach another chosen one who is sitting somewhere tonight, convinced that what was taken from them is gone forever. Your single action right now could be the moment that truth finds them. And for someone out there, that moment is overdue. Now I need to address something directly, because even as I speak, I know there is a voice inside you pushing back. A voice that has been with you for so long that you mistake it for your own thinking. It is the voice that says, that cannot be about me. I did not do anything special today. I did not heal anyone. I did not change anyone's life. I barely made it through my own. I hear you. And I want you to know that that voice is familiar to almost every chosen one I have ever encountered. It formed in the years when your frequency was being turned down, when the world taught you that small equals insignificant, when the system trained you to believe that only the loud, the visible, the impressive things are worth recording. That voice does not come from your spirit. It comes from the decline. And here is the part that God Himself finds beautiful about you. The fact that you do not think you are doing enough is the exact reason you are doing so much. Pride has never once exceeded God's expectations. But humility, the genuine kind, the kind you cannot fake because it lives in the marrow of who you are, humility has exceeded his expectations every single time. So, the next time that voice arrives, and it will, I want you to apply something I call the resonance check. It is simple. It takes 3 seconds. When a thought about yourself enters your mind, do not argue with it. Do not try to override it with positive thinking. Simply ask one question. Does this thought bring me peace, or does it bring me pressure? If it brings peace, it is from your Father. If it brings pressure, it is from the decline. God ratsered you today. He ran toward what you did with delight. He does not ratser and then condemn. He does not lean in with joy and then pull back with disappointment. The voice of pressure does not belong to the one who just laughed because of you. I want you to type "I receive" in the comments. Not because I asked you to. Because when you type those words, you are telling the voice of unworthiness that it no longer has permission to grade you. The only score that matters was already given, and it exceeded the assignment. Now, before this message reaches its final chapter, I need to tell you what is coming, because what has been spoken over you so far is the truth. But the truth has a closing ceremony, and that ceremony is not a formality. It is a declaration, an activation, a sealing of everything that was opened in your spirit today. I believe what I am going to speak over your life at the end of this message will stay with you long after you leave this space. It is the reason this entire message was placed in front of you. Stay with me, because the mega truth is still ahead, the one that holds all 3 revelations together, the one that explains not just why God smiled, but why he laughed. And it has everything to do with what you are about to discover about who you actually are. Root systems are invisible. They live in the dark. They never see sunlight, but they hold everything above them in place. And the root system that was planted in you before the world tried to freeze it over has been holding your entire life together from a depth you have never been shown, until right now. Now, let me show you the truth that holds all 3 revelations together. Revelation 1 showed you that God sees your invisible actions, the patience, the promises, the quiet act of simply showing up to a life that has not shown up for you. Revelation 2 gave you the ancient word for what he felt. Ratsa, not approval, delight. The involuntary joy of a father watching something beautiful happen in secret. Revelation 3 showed you where those actions came from. A frequency planted in you as a child, one the world tried to silence, one that your daily life has been proving is still alive. But the mega truth goes deeper than all 3. God did not laugh because you met a standard. He laughed because you, in the most exhausted, most depleted, most invisible version of yourself, still operated from the frequency he placed inside you at birth. You proved that what he built into you cannot be fully destroyed by the world, not by the systems that tried to shrink you, not by the relationships that tried to silence you, not by the seasons that tried to bury you alive. The gift survived, and that is what exceeded his expectations. Not your performance, not your eloquence, not the size of your sacrifice. The simple, stubborn, unexplainable fact that after everything you have been through, the original design is still running. You thought your patience was passive, that swallowing your words was the same as having nothing to say. But heaven recorded it as warfare, the most sophisticated kind, the kind fought without a single casualty, the kind only someone operating from a frequency deeper than ego could ever execute. You thought your silence was weakness, that not defending yourself meant you had no defense. But heaven recorded it as strategy, the kind that protects what is being built from the noise that would destroy it if given the chance. You thought your endurance was mere survival, that waking up and doing it again was just the absence of quitting. But heaven recorded it as worship, the kind that does not need a stage or a song or a lifted hand, the kind that happens in a kitchen at 6 in the morning before anyone else is awake. You thought your kindness was unremarkable, that loving someone who does not love you back is just what decent people do. But heaven recorded it as the rarest form of power on this earth, the kind that cannot be manufactured or taught or downloaded, the kind that only grows in soil that has been broken open by suffering and watered by tears nobody witnessed. You thought today was just another day, but heaven recorded it as the day you exceeded the blueprint. And I hear the Father say this, "My child, you exceeded what I expected, not because I doubted you, I have never doubted you, but because I built you for storms, and you chose to be gentle in sunshine. I designed you to endure pressure, and instead you created peace. That is not what I designed. That is what you became. And it made me laugh with the kind of joy that I have not felt since the day I first imagined you into existence." What I just revealed to you is the deepest truth in this message, but there is one more thing I must share before the closing ceremony. Something practical, something that connects directly to what was taken from you before you were 7 years old. And it may be the reason this entire message was placed in your path tonight. I know of someone, a chosen one, who 8 months ago was exactly where you are right now. Exhausted on a level that no amount of sleep could touch. Faithful in a season that gave nothing back. Carrying a weight that the people closest to her did not even know existed. She had tried everything. Meditation, retreats, prayer disciplines that lasted weeks and produced silence and more silence. Not because those things are wrong, because they were asking her brain to do something from the inside that it could not do without help from the outside. And then she made a decision. She stopped trying harder. She stopped blaming herself for the fog. And she turned her attention to restoring the frequency itself, the one that had been systematically turned down since she was a child. She found a specific tool, something created by a neuroscientist who had spent over 3 decades studying exactly how to reactivate what the decline effect had suppressed. Within 2 weeks, one word described everything that changed: synchronicities. As if the universe suddenly started speaking in a language she could finally understand. Decisions that had been frozen for months thawed in a single morning. A relationship she had written off as dead began breathing again, not because of willpower, because the foundation was restored. She went further after that, explored something called neuroactive, continued the journey. But it all began with that first restoration, that first 7 minutes. And that is what I want to share with you now. Remember when I described the frequency that was fully active in you as a child, the one connected to genius-level cognition, deep intuition, flow state, and what some researchers describe as the closest thing science has ever measured to a divine operating system? Research from institutions like MIT and Princeton has confirmed that this frequency, the gamma wave, is the highest operating frequency of the human mind. It is not metaphor. It is measurable by EEG. It was fully active in every child, including you, before the decline effect began to suppress it around age 7. And for decades, the only way to reactivate it was through methods that cost hundreds of dollars per session: biofeedback therapy at $300 an hour, home neurofeedback equipment running upward of $7,000, or years of intensive meditation practice with no guaranteed results. But a neuroscientist named Dr. Robert Lake spent 34 years of his career studying this specific frequency, and what he discovered and what he built changed the equation completely. You are not like most people, chosen one. The evidence of that is in everything you did today. Your gamma was stronger than average from the beginning. That is why you learned faster, felt deeper, sensed things other children could not name. And the distance between who you were as a child and who you feel like today, the distance that has been haunting you for years, that distance has a name. It is the decline effect. And it is not permanent. What I am about to share exists specifically for people who once carried this frequency at full strength and want it back. Dr. Lake compressed his entire body of research, the technology that used to require thousands of dollars and months of clinical visits, into a single 7-minute audio track called the Genius Song. It is not a meditation. It is not an affirmation recording. It is a precision-engineered brain entrainment tool that works directly on the gamma frequency from the outside, the way a tuning fork activates a string that has gone silent by matching its exact resonance. Now, I would never disrespect your financial reality. I know that $39 is not a small decision for everyone listening to this, and I will never pretend otherwise. What I can tell you is this: if you have tried meditation, prayer apps, sound healing, affirmation routines, and none of them produce the shift you were looking for, there is a reason. Those methods ask your brain to change itself from the inside. Brain entrainment works differently. It introduces the target frequency from the outside, directly, measurably, and the brain synchronizes with it the way your heartbeat synchronizes with a drum beat in a quiet room. This is not another item on the same list of things that disappointed you. This is a completely different mechanism. The standard price for this technology is $49. But Dr. Lake has made it available for $39, specifically for people who find it through messages like this one, not as a commercial promotion, as a personal mission. He has said publicly that his goal is not to sell a product, but to get this technology into the hands of people who were supposed to have it all along. This price is not available on Amazon. It is not on Spotify. It is not anywhere else. For $39, you receive the full technology, plus 4 bonuses, a version designed specifically for children in your care, called Genius Child, a guided visualization for the 4 areas of your life that matter most, a classic book on abundance that originally inspired a well-known film, and a daily habits infographic you can keep where you will see it every morning. All of this is covered by a complete money-back guarantee. If you do not feel a difference, you receive every cent back. No conditions, no time pressure, no questions. Every day that this frequency stays dormant is not a neutral day. It is a day your prayers carry fog that does not belong to them. It is a day your decisions move through resistance that was never part of the original design. It is a day the distance between who you are and who you were built to be stays exactly where it is, unchanged, unchallenged, and quietly expanding. The version of you that has already restored this frequency, the one living on the other side of this single decision, that version is looking back at this exact moment as the turning point. Not a perfect decision, just the right one. And it starts with one step. One thing I must share before I move on. There are counterfeit versions of this technology circulating on the internet. Websites that use the name without any of the actual brain entrainment engineering inside. Those files are just ordinary audio, nothing more. The only way to receive the authentic tool with Dr. Robert Lake's full technology, all 4 bonuses, And the complete money-back guarantee is through the link in the description and the pinned comment beneath this message. Do not search for it on Amazon or Spotify or anywhere else. What you would find there is not what was designed to restore you. If your spirit resonates with this restoration, you will find everything you need in the pinned comment and description. Investigate only if you feel led. This is a door, not a push. Now, there is one final thing remaining, a ceremony, a declaration that I believe will mark this day permanently in your spirit. Everything that has been opened in you tonight must now be sealed. Take a breath, chosen one. What has been shared is now yours. What remains is a closing, an activation, a sealing of everything you received. Everything I have shared with you tonight was building toward this moment. 3 revelations, 1 mega truth. And now, a closing that is not a goodbye. It is a beginning. Let me bring it together plainly. God sees your invisible actions, not eventually, not when they become big enough to notice. Right now, today, the patience you chose when rage was waiting, the promise you kept when no one would have blamed you for letting go, the quiet, stubborn act of showing up when everything inside you was begging to stay down. He does not just see them, he ratses them. He runs toward them with delight, the way a father runs toward something his child created in secret, something that was never meant to be seen, but is more beautiful because of it. And those actions are not ordinary. They are evidence that the frequency God placed inside you before the world tried to silence it is still alive, still operating, still transmitting from a depth that nothing on this earth has been able to reach and destroy. That is why he laughed, because you exceeded the design. Because what he built, you became more than. Starting tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, I want you to apply something I call the mirror practice. It requires nothing but a moment of stillness. Before you reach for your phone, before the day begins its noise, ask yourself one question. What did I do yesterday that I dismissed? Name it, say it silently or out loud, and then say these 5 words. God ratsed that too. Do this every morning, not as a ritual, as a recalibration, because the voice of the decline will return every single day to tell you that your actions are too small to matter. And every single day, you will need to remind yourself that heaven disagrees. Now, I want you to do something with me, not physically, inside your spirit, in your mind. I want you to rise to your feet. Wherever you are right now, in whatever position your body is in, let your spirit stand. Now, imagine God standing directly in front of you, not on a throne, not behind clouds, standing at eye level, close enough that if you reached out your hand, you would feel warmth before your fingers touched anything solid. And he is smiling, that same smile from today, the one that grew into laughter, the one that was caused entirely by you. He extends one hand toward you, and in that hand is a mirror. But this mirror does not show what your bathroom mirror shows. It does not reflect the tired eyes or the worried lines or the version of yourself that you criticize every morning. This mirror shows you the way God sees you, the version of you that exceeded the blueprint, the version that carried a frequency the world tried to kill and kept it alive through nothing but faithfulness and stubborn, quiet love. Look at that version. Let it look back at you. This is not imagination, this is alignment. You are seeing yourself the way you were always meant to be seen. Feel the weight of that truth settle into the center of your chest. Let it anchor. Something just shifted that cannot be unshifted. Now we seal what was opened. Father, source of everything that breathes and everything that waits in silence to breathe, I come to you tonight not with a request, but with a thank you. Thank you for watching today. Thank you for seeing the patience that no one applauded. Thank you for recording the promise that no one witnessed. Thank you for counting the simple act of showing up as something worthy of your laughter. You did not have to delight in what we did, you chose to. And that choice has changed the temperature of this room. You saw every weight this chosen one has carried in silence. You saw the prayers that felt like they hit a ceiling made of brass. You saw the nights that stretched longer than they should have. You saw the moments when they smiled for everyone else and then sat alone and wondered how much longer they could hold it together. You saw the real score. Not the one the world gave, not the one they gave themselves, the one that made you laugh. Now we release the old story that said small means insignificant. Release. We release the belief that God only notices the dramatic and the loud. Release. We release the lie that said, today was just another wasted day. Release. We release the comparison to everyone who seems further ahead. Release. We release the timeline that said, this should have happened by now. Release. We release the need for applause before believing the work matters. Release. We release the voice that has been whispering not enough since childhood. Release. We release the exhaustion of performing for a God who only ever wanted our presence. Release. Now we activate. We activate the light bearer in you, the one who carries illumination into dark rooms without even trying, the one whose presence alone changes the atmosphere before a single word is spoken. We activate the truth carrier, the one who sees through masks and pretense, the one who physically cannot live an inauthentic life, because something inside you rejects dishonesty the way your body rejects poison. We activate the wounded healer, the one whose deepest pain has become medicine, for everyone brave enough to sit in your presence and let the pretending stop. We activate the intercessor, the one who carries the weight of others to the throne without being asked, the one who prays for people who will never know they were prayed for. And we activate what has not yet been fully named, what those who have gone further along this path call destiny's embrace, the moment when calling and capacity finally meet inside the same body, inside the same season, inside the same breath. That moment is closer to you tonight than it has ever been. Now we protect. Cover this chosen one from the voice that will return tomorrow to say this was just emotion. Guard what is being built in their spirit from premature exposure, from the opinions of people who do not understand the blueprint, from the self-sabotage that always arrives 3 days after a breakthrough, whispering that it was not real. Protect the frequency, protect the seed, protect the tree that is already growing in the dark. Now, we declare, you are seen, you are celebrated, you are enough. You are not becoming something, you are remembering something, you are returning to something. You are the one who exceeded the blueprint. You are the one who made the architect of the universe laugh with joy. You are the one heaven is celebrating tonight. And I hear the Father say one final thing. Well done, not for finishing, for continuing. Well done, my child. Do not say Amen yet. I want you to sit in this frequency for a moment. Let the weight of what was just spoken settle into the deepest part of your chest. Let the laughter of heaven echo in the room where you are sitting. Nothing needs to be added. Nothing needs to be fixed. Just let it land. The tree that stands tallest began as the seed nobody noticed. You are that tree, chosen one. And today was the day you grew past every ceiling that was ever placed above you. It is done. It is sealed. We receive it. In the mighty name of the Father, Amen. You are not alone in this. Right now, in this very hour, chosen ones all across the world are going through this exact same shift. The frequency is rising, the laughter is spreading, and the roots that were planted in silence are breaking through the surface everywhere. If someone came to mind while you were listening tonight, someone who has been unusually quiet lately, someone who looks fine on the outside, but you just know, they are carrying a weight that nobody around them can see. Someone who has been performing for the world while slowly breaking apart on the inside. Share this with them. Send it directly. Text it, email it, however you need to get it to them, because this might be the exact confirmation their spirit has been waiting for. This might be the message that finally tells them what they did today was not invisible. If what was spoken over you tonight shifted something, let your like be your amen without words. A quiet signal that sends this light further into the darkness where someone else is sitting tonight, wondering if anything they do actually matters. If this message found you at the right moment, there are more words being prepared for your next season. Stay connected so they can find you when the time is right. And before you go, type IEXCEDDD in the comments. 2 words. Because today, you did. Heaven confirmed it. The laughter proved it. And nothing the world says tomorrow can undo what was sealed tonight.